Hi there. In this video, we're going to take a look at uses for hypothesis testing. Hypothesis testing is something that's incredibly diverse and is a very broad statement. Hypothesis testing is many different types of tests which exist. Though in an introductory statistics course, you're probably most familiar with z-tests and t-tests, as well as two-sample z-tests and t-tests. This also covers things like chi-square testing, but let's talk fundamentals for today. As far as the fundamentals of hypothesis testing go, you name a topic and there is probably something you can come up with to hypothesis test for it. Something that I've noticed is that hypothesis testing is sometimes thought of as really just looking to see if something's wrong, but that's not always the case. Hypothesis testing can be used to measure consistency, or, of course, you can use it to determine if something has basically gotten so bad that it's out of control and it needs to be addressed. So that's where kind of the bad side would come in. So you can either measure consistency, or I'll just say in short, is there a problem with something? Or if you're trying to determine if something's safe. So is something safe? You can also use hypothesis testing to determine if you have evidence supporting that there has been a change over time, if there's something different, maybe a discrepancy between locations. So again, you name it, there's many different ways that we can use hypothesis testing. So you can use to see, is there evidence to support change over time? Or is there a discrepancy between locations, that kind of thing. So let's talk about a couple examples of each of these here. Measuring consistency, or if there's a problem, those are things I think of mostly in like manufacturing. So as with, especially with food products, quality control sampling is done very often, though they do quality control sampling for almost every product that's coming off of a manufacturing line. So I don't want to misspeak here. Something to be mindful of when we're talking about measuring consistency, we're saying, is this product coming off of the production line in the exact same way that it's supposed to every time? For example, if you buy a 12-ounce box of cereal, does it actually have 12 ounces in it? Or is there too little in that box? Or maybe there's too much in the box? All of those are things that would imply that there's a problem with consistency. So these first two things here, as examples, kind of think of those from the perspective of manufacturing, right? If you're trying to determine if something is safe, let's say that there is clinical studies being done or drug trials being done where they're trying to determine if a medication is safe for the full market. So what they're doing is they're using a sample of people to test this medication on to determine basically, are there side effects? If so, do the side effects outweigh the good that this product would actually do? And you can use hypothesis testing to basically see how extreme, right? In how many patients did you see this extreme number of side effects or something in that capacity? To be fair, I'm very much overgeneralizing a lot of this because most of these are not my field of expertise, but it is, as a consumer, easy for us to try and relate to how hypothesis testing could be used in the real world. The next one here, change over time. So when we're talking about change over time could be something like, is there a difference in infant mortality rate from the 1960s to the 2020s? Have we noticed a change, right? It could even be something like, let's say you're conducting a survey of patients and you want to see if the weight loss regimen that you put them on was effective before they started to after, right? So what were the results there? And what hypothesis testing does that's different than with confidence intervals is hypothesis testing is providing evidence. So I should say it's providing statistical evidence. So based on that statistical evidence, you can determine at whatever threshold you decide, do you have evidence that supports that this data is consistent or that there is a problem? Is something safe to release to the market? Has there been a change over time? Uh, let's say that you own your own business and you want a franchise, you're thinking about opening a second location, and then suddenly your second location isn't doing well, right? That's what I mean down here between locations. You can measure to see if there's data supporting that one place is doing better than the other. You could also use that on a bigger scale. Let's say that you were curious to see how, um, I don't know, like dental health or oral health in Delaware related to the rest of the country, right? You could use hypothesis testing to see how does Delaware relate back to the rest of the country? Do we have better oral health than in other parts of the country? Is it worse? Is it about the same? You could even do that and compare it to other places in the world. So hypothesis testing is an incredibly powerful tool, and we really can use it for any topic that you are curious to find and collect statistical evidence for. Thanks for watching.